to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you?
I'm okay. I have a little show and tell for you. Maybe we'll show the listeners one day, but I've just sent you a message. So I've spent this week. And for those of you who don't know, it is Super Bowl week. Mary Kate is pretending like it's not, but it still is, because it's in New Orleans. And so I've spent the week doing Super
Just so you
Bowl-y
know, this
things.
message has not gone through. Oh, just kidding. It
That's
just
okay.
came through. It just came
That's
through.
okay. I'm giving you the intro to it. I'm not there yet. I will tell
Okay.
you more about what I've sent you. So I have spent the week doing Super Bowl things since it's in New Orleans this year. And so Monday we went to opening night. We got tickets from work, and it was pretty cool. It was a little slower than I would have anticipated. Um, but they did like the teams running on the fields or whatever, which I missed because we were standing in line for signatures. So I got to meet Mark Ingram, who is one of my faves, which was very exciting. And we got like pictures and stuff with him, which was cool. And we were supposed to meet Turan Matthew, and he didn't show. So we just stood in line for 17 hours, which was only a little annoying. But they did like, because it's New Orleans and Mardi Gras time, they did like a king cake tasting thing, which was really fun and cool because then I got to try all the king cakes I hadn't had. And I'd had like half of the ones that were there.
Nice.
Um, but it was really fun. And then we just kind of hung out a bit. It was just like a lot of people, but there were some like cute pictures and stuff. But then yesterday we did the Super Bowl experience, which these are all things I didn't know existed. It makes sense that things happen during Super Bowl week.
Yeah.
Just didn't know. And so yesterday we went to the Super Bowl experience, which was you got to meet people. So we met Teran Matthew, ended up being there, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he used to play for the Chiefs, but he plays for the Saints now. And Teran Matthew plays for the Saints and used to play for LSU. So, and Mark Ingram's just mostly been there the whole time. He's gone a bit, but he's mostly been for the Saints. Um, and so it was cool getting to meet like our players and like take pictures and get signatures and stuff. Nick brought like the trading cards. And so we got their signatures on that. And then I sent you some pictures because they put up like memorabilia from like all the teams. And I sent you like the jersey, like they had Josh Allen's jersey and stuff yesterday.
Yeah.
So they had this whole thing in the center set up that was like a locker room. And so it had like jerseys from each of like the players or whatever. And so you got different players, like the top players, not necessarily quarterbacks, because like they had Kamara and the Saints one, instead of any of our quarterbacks that don't know how to play football.
Aren't worth naming.
Um, right, right. And then but then you got to see the Lombardi trophy. So that's a picture I sent you. I got a picture with the Lombardi trophy, which was fun.
Yeah.
And then they had all of the Super Bowl rings, from all times.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately you don't have one. And so I sent you the Saints one, um, for reference. But I took a video of it and went all around, and it's really cool, but it's a long video and I don't know if it's going to send. I'm supposed to send it to Nick. I don't know if it's going to send, so I didn't send it to you.
Right.
And then they had all of the team's helmets in like wrapped in Swarovski crystals.
That is
That's the Bills one
beautiful.
that I've sent to
Yeah.
you. And then they also had, if you see this little helmet that I've sent you,
Yeah.
that was from the Rochester, what were they called?
The Rochester Jeffersons.
Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was like one of the originals. And so I thought that was really cool. I didn't realize there was a Rochester team that was the Rochester Jeffersons. But I did take that picture for you specifically. Um, yeah, and then they had like just all kinds of fun stuff. They had like the Hall of Fame was spread out. So they had like all the histories and stuff on there, which was really cool. And then I got a couple of like souvenirs. They had this giant, massive bag. Do guess what I bought to go in this giant bag?
Probably nothing big enough for that bag.
Absolutely not. Let me find it so I can show you what I bought. This. I bought the commemorative pin.
And they
And
gave
this
you
is the
that
bag.
bag.
This is the bag they had for everything, which was fine. I mean, it's a nice size tote,
Yeah.
but yeah. And then we got like, oh, Rachel gave me her beads. So Visa was doing like a sponsored thing, and so we got
Yeah.
beads and um little
Koozies.
koozie. I got a magnet, and we got like a tattoo, and I got some like I whatever.
Nice.
But it was really fun. So like we're going on Saturday, Nick's high school. This is the thing I was gonna tell you. So
Mm.
apparently this is the thing I learned. They pick a high school in the region that's like one of the more affluent for football players. I don't really know what terms they used or what settings they have.
Yeah.
But turns out St. Charles Parish, tiny town where I live, um, is one of the most like football heavy like cities in the country.
I believe it.
Um, yeah, I mean, I wasn't super, but like only because it's super small. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not surprised it's Louisiana, but St. Charles
Right.
Parish is tiny. But that meant that they pick a regional high school to do like a meet and greet event for like family day. And so it's Nick's high school, which is like 5 minutes on the road from their house. So we're going to go to that Saturday morning and then go to the Super Bowl experience again because um, Cam Jordan's going to be there and Rod Gronkowski's going to be there. They're supposed to both be doing signatures. So me and Nick are going to go and then we'll watch the game at his house on Sunday. So
I
I
will not.
am real football-y every day, every second of every day right now.
I will not be watching the game.
I know, and that's okay. I can
And
support you in
I
that.
think the entire city of Buffalo is actively boycotting the game.
I think so. And I think that's fair. I will say that I cannot root for the Eagles and respect myself. So I do have to tell you that I am going for the Chiefs.
Wow, this is the last time you'll ever see this
I
podcast.
know. I know. I do love Saquon Barkley because I did love him when he played for the Giants too. And I do want good things for him. Like I want him, it's his birthday, and I want him to get his passing yards, his postseason passing yard achievement. I don't even know which one it is, but he's supposed to break a record. And not passing, running. I do know what I'm saying. I just can't say it. Um, so I do hope the best for him. But part of me is just like, give the Chiefs their win and then send them on their way and just like take them
Yeah.
out of it from now on. They've done it, they've had enough.
Um,
And so, but I just really hate the bird teams. I don't hate the Ravens as much as I hate most of them, but I do hate the Eagles and the Seahawks almost as much as I hate the Falcons. Not quite, but almost. So
I love the Seahawks. They haven't
I do
been good in a
not.
while.
That is true. So how are you?
Sorry, I actually really funny saw a video the other day where someone actually looked like legitimately. I was like, this kid, I'm so proud of whoever he is. He was at like a meet and greet like Q&A thing, and he was like, he asked Patrick Mahomes, he was like, so many people have helped you get to where you are. So I just want to know which ref is your favorite.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Well, the whole situation with the refs has really been bothering me, like on a deeper level than just because the Bills lost. And it's because if you've ever watched professional tennis, they have
I have.
this camera that like can literally tell you to the millimeter where the ball touched. And here we are in the year of our Lord 2025 with grown men in striped shirts with a chain and a stick trying to tell us where a ball is. And the NFL has
Money.
attempted, yeah, well, A, they have money, and B, they have attempted to introduce the idea of cameras to call downs. And the refs
Yeah.
were like, that's ridiculous. Like they're trying to get their unions involved, saying that the cameras couldn't do as good a job as them. Now, I lived in this little country called Thailand for a few years. And Thailand is like the only country in the world that still has 100% manual street lights. There is a person in a box at every corner turning the lights red or green. And what had happened was Bangkok introduced a computer system to turn the lights, and the traffic police sabotaged it because they didn't want to be out of a job. And so
Yeah.
now Bangkok's traffic is fucking garbage because these men sabotaged the computer system and threw a fit because they wanted a job. And so I'm having trauma flashbacks to sitting in Bangkok traffic while I'm listening to these men who are clearly bought off saying, oh no, a computer can't do my job.
Well, I'll tell you, watching that game, I was having trauma flashbacks. And when this happened with the Saints, with the Rams, the year the Rams went to the Super Bowl, because they wanted to do that whole thing in LA when it was their first hometown. So I'm with you. I'm with you. And I
Listen,
would
while the world is out there telling me that AI could do my job, and now these refs want to tell me that a computer couldn't do their job.
Right. When it's already doing it for all the other sports. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And you think the Wimbledon judges don't still get paid even though they're using a computer to verify themselves? No, ma'am.
Right. It's not like you're not on the field. Yeah, who's going to throw a flag? Camera's not throwing a flag. You got to still be out there to throw a flag. You got to be out there to break up fights. You got to be out there for whatever reason. run around, catch the ball, throw it back to them. But there's no reason not to have a camera to verify, because then we end up in situations like this.
Yeah. So.
Where we have the exact same Super Bowl from 2 years ago.
So even though that has nothing to do with where I am, it's actually just because I'm really mad at everyone who's incapable of doing their job right now. And mostly I hate the New York State governor and everyone in the New York State Education Department. Because the governor passed a bill saying that phones were not allowed in schools anymore. Okay, fine.
Like at all?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
for adults too?
No, for the kids. Like,
oh, I was like, that's insane.
Yeah. For like kids couldn't have cell phones in school, which, okay, theoretically, I'm not mad about it. Sure. However, the New York State, like ed law, like bills that have been passed about student and minor information on the internet, which again, I also agree needs to be handled, have recently been tightened to the point where we have to change how many Google apps the kids' emails have access to. Fun fact, Google Translate is not an allowed app. But the kids can't have their phones to use Google Translate on their own email because they can't have phones in school. But don't worry, we're also a school that needs more educational support for our ENL students because they're not doing well on standardized testing. But you can't have Google Translate or a phone.
Yeah. Yeah, this all makes a lot of sense. I do also worry for the city students, the ones that have to take public transportation home. They're gonna need a phone. Like, even if you check it in when you get to school.
No, a lot of city schools, like some of the charter schools here already do that. They have like a place where you turn your phone in when you walk in the door.
Well, that's not as bad.
No,
if you're not like,
yeah, and like I said, theoretically, each of these things could be fine. It's just that, like, every day, it's like, oh, hey, here's 8 more reasons why you can't do your job the way you've been doing it, but also do it better.
Well, also, it's different for like for ENL students, like, they don't have an alternative for you. If they were going to give you an alternative translator, sure, fine. Absolutely. But that's not what they're doing. Which is the problem most of the time with the government, is they're like, we're going to fix this thing to make it really hard, but we're not going to give you something that's going to actually fix it.
Right. And like the whole thing with the Trump's tariffs on a base. No. Like, oh, me too. What's going on? For the most part, I have, but like Dan is my husband, so I can't. On the basis, a tariff is a good thing to promote the American economy.
Right.
If America has an economy.
Right. Correct.
But like you have to strengthen the economy before you tell people that they can't buy things from other countries, because right now there's nothing from this country to buy.
That's what it is. There's no substitute.
It's like I'm going to solve the problem. Okay, it's every person's worst nightmare of their high school math teacher being like, but show your work. Show your work. Right. Show your work. All of the time we are putting the solution and we're not showing our work.
Yep. 100%. I feel that all the time. I've been feeling that at work lately too, which is a much smaller scale, but everyone's like, this is what we're doing. And I'm like, okay, but why? And they're just like, I am so sorry for the world, to our podcast world. Like, I'm doing billing right now. I sure have said that on a podcast.
Yeah.
And so we used to run payments on Fridays, which is fine because we posted all of our like charges and claims for the week before Friday. And then on Friday morning, we would send an email to everyone we were charging. And by Friday afternoon, we would charge them. And now, which is why I started going on Fridays instead of Wednesdays. And now they want to run payments on Mondays. However, now we're making more charges and claims available before we actually run their payments since we're not doing it to Monday afternoon. But we're still sending them the email on Friday, which means the balance is changing from Friday to Monday afternoon. And all of our new claims come in on Monday. So now all of our new claims are coming on Mondays. We're posting a lot of them, getting behind on that because we're running payments on Mondays now too. And
No, but like
I don't know how to say this doesn't make
things,
sense.
you run things on Monday for a closed cap of the Friday before. You don't have them roll into each other.
Right. Which is why we did it Friday afternoon because we didn't get things coming in on Fridays. So we do it end of day Friday at like
Right, and like if you
2 or 3.
can do it end of day
Right.
Friday, great. And if you
Right.
can't, you do it beginning of day Monday, but you still have it
Right.
locked at end of day Friday.
Right. 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 Correct. So, but I did tell my supervisor who I was given by the owner of the company the freedom to do whatever I want, basically, on my work days. She was like, come in whatever days you want, whatever hours you want, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. I'm gonna try to stick to a schedule because that's helpful for everyone.
Yeah.
So I do run everything by my supervisor, and I'm like, hey, I think this makes more sense since we don't have work on Fridays now. If I come in on Wednesdays again, because then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be our big days. And it's been a week and a half, and she has not given me responses to how she feels about that yet. I'm gonna just do it, but I did tell her. I was like, I'm pretty sure I should run this by you, but also like I get there. So the girl who works with me goes in at 8, and I get there after that. And depends on the day, how late after that, but after that. But by the time I get there, she's done with all the work for Friday.
Yeah.
Like, so there's no point me being there on Fridays.
No.
And so, anyways,
since the world
that's how we are.
Since the world is clearly falling apart because everyone failed high school geometry. Can you please give me something to make this better?
Sure. I don't think I've read this before, but if I have, we should hear it again anyways.
Cool.
Make it happen. Shock everyone. Shock yourself. The mission is personal. It takes a lot to start over again, but you owe it to yourself to become everything you've ever dreamed of. Be brave. Trust the magic of new beginnings. Things will find their shape. I don't have a person. I don't have reference. Anonymous.
Well, today we are talking about Stargate SG-1, Season 7, Episode 7, Enemy Mine. Which
should have been drinking a 7 and 7.
Love a good 7.
I don't, but
you don't. Why?
I'm just not a big rum person. Not a big rum person. I'm not.
It's not, but it's not
drinks
rum.
Either.
7 and 7. No, it's Seagram 7, which is
Seagram
whiskey.
7.
It's whiskey.
No.
7 and 7 is whiskey and Sprite. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I went to bartending school. Remember?
I mean, I worked at a bar. I don't really like Sprite drinks either, though.
Oh no, I just know I love a Seagram 7 or like a 7 and 7.
Huh. Yeah. That is not what they used to make it with when they said 7 and 7. They used to make it with rum. I don't remember who it was. Oh. I don't drink it. Regardless, okay, so I don't really care.
I was like, but I went to my friend's wedding one time, and all of the it was like the cocktail hour, and like it was all the girls like my age and everything, and mind you, I also knew like no one there except for the wedding party. And all the girls and her cousins and everything were like ordering like really fruity drinks or whatever. And I walked up to the bar and I was like, can I get a 7 and 7? And these old men were like, yeah, you can hang out with us. And I was like, great, because I don't like people.
See, I like whiskey, but I'm not a big fan of like Sprite drinks.
See, but I like
Sprite drinks are not it for me.
yeah, but see, I like a 7 and 7 because it's kind of like a whiskey sour, but it's not as sweet because the
See, I
Sprite
don't
is
like a
not as
sour
sweet.
either.
No, this yeah, but I'm saying the Sprite is not as sweet as
Yeah,
the sour mix. So it's like kind of
yeah.
like a whiskey sour, but like not quite as sweet.
See, the only piece of any of those drinks I like is the whiskey part. I don't like the sour mix. I don't like the Sprite mix. I'm gonna just have just whiskey or not. Those are the
Anyway,
ones.
as I said the word enemy mine, it was the first time that it occurred to me that it was because the episode was about a mining experience. I was thinking like baby mine, like Dumbo.
What a different song that would be if it was Enemy Mine.
It was rated 7.8 stars. Um, and it came out on July 25th, 2003. We have the same top song, still Beyonce. Um, the top book is back to Da Vinci's Code. It like the Da Vinci Code, it like is flip-flopping. Because you know
Yeah.
how
It's
sometimes
a
in the
really
summer,
good book though.
yeah, sometimes in the summer there's like two books that are really good, and so every week it
Mhm.
kind of like teeters.
Yeah.
Um, the top movie, the top movie on this day was Spy Kids 3 Game Over.
Amazing. Spy Kids 3D.
Yes.
The best. What a good day. What a good day. I remember this day. I was obsessed with the Spy Kids movies.
Me too.
Love them so much.
When Megan Trainor and Daryl Sabara got married, my dad was like, Judy Cortez married Megan Trainor.
I missed it for the longest time that they were married. Like I did eventually learn it, but I was really late to the game learning about that because I was following Alexis Pinavega,
Oh,
and her
I
husband Carlos.
love the Penn Vegas because I also fucking love Big Time Rush.
See, I never watched that. I don't know anything about
Oh,
that. I didn't know he existed until he was married to her. Like I was again another thing I was late to the
yeah.
game on. Surprise.
Um, on this day, Michael Phelps broke the world record in butterfly and IM and became the first man to break two world records in the same day.
Good for him.
Yeah, we love Michael Phelps.
Love a good
Um,
US win.
this day, also, the Palestinian Prime Minister Mahmoud Abbas met President Bush at the White House. That was like a big deal. Well,
Okay.
obviously, because 2003 was in the Middle
Sure.
East, so it's not a time.
Right.
This episode was directed by Peter DeLuise. Oh, and sorry, it was directed and written by Peter DeLuise, and edited by Eric Hill. And then, before I talk about our guest star, my question is, did you recognize the guest star?
Yes. I do not know why, and I did not look him up, but
Okay,
yes.
okay. I made Dan come in the room. I go, Dan, I need you to just sit down and watch this. Just the
I thought
beginning.
it was because he had been on here before, and I was like, maybe that's why I've seen him in this capacity. But then I was like, no, he seems like I haven't seen him in this capacity
You
at all
have
because I
not,
didn't
no.
recognize like his I don't know what level he was, what military level he was.
What, the
Colonel?
Colonel? Colonel, yeah, the
Yeah.
Colonel.
Yeah, I didn't recognize his colonel name.
Yeah.
So
Um, Dan was like, why am I supposed to know that? And then Dan got really confused because the other character that is like the two characters that we talk to a
Mhm.
lot on the planet, the other character is not our guest star for this episode, but we will talk about them because that character himself comes back a lot. He's a main character later.
He looked kind of familiar too, but not as familiar. I
But
don't know if I
yeah,
know him.
so the guest star who played Colonel Edwards was Michael Rooker. He
I
is
know that
known
name.
he's known for Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies because that's Yondu. And the number of times in my notes that I wrote General Yondu and then crossed it off, I was like, first of all, he's a colonel. Second of all,
First of all.
um,
Oh,
but
that's
yes,
amazing.
yes. So Michael moved to Chicago from Alabama when he was 13. And he caught the acting bug, but he didn't actually start acting like in film till much later. His first film role was the movie Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer in 1986. Um,
I do not know that movie.
Me either. But
Okay.
he married his wife Margot in 1979. Before he was ever in Hollywood or anything. They are still married. They have two daughters. It's really great. And my favorite fun fact about him is that he practices Kyokushin style karate.
I've never heard of that one.
Me either. And it's really funny because as I was going through his IMDb and everything, and like post Guardians, everyone knows who Michael Rooker is, and he like goes to Comic Cons all the time, and he's like a name. That's really exciting. But before the Guardians films, he really wasn't well known. Like he's not his filmography is not that extensive. Like he really
Yeah.
it wasn't until the late 80s that he really got into the game at all, and it wasn't until Guardians that he like became a sensation. And now everyone ever quotes him because I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
I love him. I love the Guardians movies. I will
Yeah.
say until the day I die, they do not fit in the Marvel Universe movies, but I love them nonetheless.
Well, okay. No, I disagree with that because I think that the MCU is strong enough to carry the fact that Marvel Comics has a lot of different things going
Well, no,
on.
I think that too. I mean more in the sense of like this era of Marvel, it felt separated from like the Captain Americas.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like it's should have been a separate because like now we have our TV show Marvel era. And
Yeah, but
then,
I appreciate that they took things and but also like the thing that people don't like realize is like everybody thinks of Iron Man in terms of the MCU. Prior to the MCU, Iron Man was one of the least selling Marvel comics.
mhm,
That character
yeah,
is not a mainstream character. He's a really dark,
right.
fucked up character that people like didn't know who he was from Adam. So for them to like go out on a limb and take things like Iron Man and Guardians and make them household
Mhm,
names by giving them the MCU like
yeah,
treatment, I appreciate because like I think that it does more for comics and for comic artists
yeah,
than like the fact that DC
right.
has tried to remake Batman 700
Sure. No,
times.
that's totally fair. I want that I wanted them at the same time as I wanted like my my X-Men movies. Like I want them in the same time frame. Whereas like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
I feel like they're both like groups. I understand the Avengers are a group too, but it's
Yeah.
different. And so I like having the
Listen,
Avengers universe and then I want to break into these other universes as a whole, but I just
yeah.
want to take
But
everything into every little
see,
piece that I can.
I kind of liked having the Guardians cross over with the Avengers to kind of open us up to the different universes. Um, because also I have to tell you, I don't know if you have seen it yet, but the Fantastic Four trailer dropped this week.
I have not, but I did see one of the. Oh no, I think that was an X-Men teaser that they had at the end of one of the other
Oh,
movies.
the Fantastic
Um,
Four trailer dropped this week, and I cried because it looks so good. And it looks like they're taking the Fantastic Four back to like the actual heart of what the Fantastic Four comics were.
good because that first movie sucked.
Well, okay, I have to say the original, old with Ian Gruff, Jessica Alba, whatever.
Yeah,
I recognize that it was not objectively a great movie, but I thought
yeah.
the casting was decent. And I do blame Ian Grufford as Reed Richards for most of my daddy issues. Um,
No, no, no. I'm talking about
the Michael B.
um
Jordan and the Michael B. Jordan Miles Teller
the
one.
94 one
Oh, the 94 one. Oh, yeah, no, no.
was garbage.
The
I
94
liked
one,
the 2005 one. It wasn't stellar, but I liked
right.
it.
Yeah, that's what the 94
Um,
one was garbage. 2005,
yeah.
again, agreed, it wasn't stellar, but I really, really liked it. The sequel,
Such good
eh.
casting though. You're right.
But then and then the reboot, the Fan Four Tastic, whatever fucking Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan one from 2015.
I did not see that one, I don't think, and I love Miles Teller.
Yeah, but Miles Teller as Reed Richards is one of the worst casting choices I've ever seen because Reed Richards was an established doctor and older man at the point that he got his superpowers, and the idea of trying to age down the Fantastic Four when all of our superheroes are already young and
Yeah.
obnoxious, like it just pissed me off to no end. So when they
Yeah, no, I
cast
love
this,
Miles Teller, and that is not a good casting for him.
no, and when they announced that it was going to be Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby, I literally lost my shit. And then I watched the trailer, and it is like all retro, vintage 60s like style filming, and the music is retro, and like I cried.
Natasha Lyonne is going to be in it. John Malkovich.
It,
I did not know this came out this week.
the
I'm gonna have
trailer, yeah, the
to,
trailer just came
yeah.
out. I want to say Tuesday, I think, was when
It
Dan.
says 2 days ago. Whatever today
Yes,
is 2 days ago.
yes, Tuesday. It was because today's Thursday, so it was Tuesday because we're sitting there. Which I'll talk more about how my Tuesday went on our next episode. Spoilers, but Tuesday was 1 month, or mine and Dan's 1 month of being
Oh
married
yeah.
anniversary, and so we went out to dinner, and we're sitting there at the table, and he just goes, "Remind me when we get home." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Oh no," because he goes, "Did you watch the trailer?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Remind me when we get home." I was like, "Okay." So we get home, and he pulls it up on the TV, and I just go, because he knows how much I love Reed Richards. So.
Oh God, I like the Fantastic Four, but we haven't had the right movie yet for
Right.
them, and
And
so
I'm
I
hoping
just
that
like
this
to
is
see
it.
it.
Yeah. So now that my guest star of Michael Rooker has turned into a deep dive
Oh,
into the history of the
we've
Fantastic
already
Four film.
shocker that I spiraled off of a Marvel comic. What is that? I did
Um,
finish Luke Cage season 1 this week, so I'm
Look at you
back
go.
in it.
We open the episode on an SG team that we don't know who have been on this planet for 3 months, trying to mine Naquita fairly unsuccessfully so far. Um, and they're not doing really well. Basically, throughout the course of the episode, we learn that the Prometheus is still stranded where they left it, and they don't have access to Nequadria, and they don't trust it. So they're just trying to get enough Naquita to run the other ships so that they can potentially rescue the Prometheus, or at least build some kind of air defense for Earth. But they find a location that seems to have like triple the amount, or no, sorry, 50 times the amount of naquita that the other mining locations have had. So they're working on this stuff and trying to figure out this new mining location. And as they work, there's something moving in the trees. Which, did you recognize immediately
Mm-mm.
what it was?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because we
No, but
have.
I started it while I was still sleepy when I was
Okay,
first waking up.
because they don't really show you what it is at first, except for that like greenish haze vision moving through the trees we have seen before.
Mhm.
That's the same way that
Yeah,
they introduced the Unas to us on the first episode that we met Chaka. So,
yeah.
and then this man gets dragged and moved away or pulled into the woods, and we get our credits.
Hmm, hmm.
Um, After the credits, SG-1 arrives because this mining group has never done a search and rescue mission. They're literally just like field bombers, basically. Um, and they are filling the team in about the search and rescue mission. My favorite little random moment was that Daniel finds a pile of artifacts, and Sergeant Lorne, who is there, who Sergeant Lorne will come back. That's the one Dan was like, "Is that Lorne?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes like, "Atlantis Lorne?" I said, "Yes, Atlantis Lorne." He goes, "Oh." And I
Ooh,
go, "This is his first appearance on the show." And Dan got really excited.
I
Uh,
love it. I
yes.
like him.
So he's like, Daniel's like, "There's artifacts." And he goes, "Yeah." And he was like, "You didn't call me." He's like, "Well, I was going to." And he was like, "But you moved them." He goes, "They were in the way."
This whole interaction, I was like, Daniel, take a breath. You might be
Well,
right though, because every time you move stuff, everybody gets mad.
right.
So maybe she'll left them
Um,
there. But
which is when when Jack was like, "Daniel, go to your happy place."
I know. Oh, this scene killed me. And then he's like, go, go. Like while he's distracted, go.
Yeah. So the team goes looking for Ritter, the missing lieutenant, and Daniel calls Jack back to camp and was like, "I have to show you everything I found." And what he found was our fun favorite electric shock the slaves gold weapon that we've seen a few times in a few different contexts, but always to shock slaves, and a yoke that is far too large for human shoulders.
Yup.
And Daniel's like, well, if you look at the fact that we're on a mining planet and we have these slave equipment and this yoke that's too big, you can almost guarantee that the problem is that we're on an Unas planet.
Yeah.
So my next note says Daniel tries to get Yandu to stop mining because I had forgotten his name at that point.
Sure, sure.
And in case it really is the Unas, and Colonel Edwards is just like, nope. He's like, I'm on a mission. I'm gonna do my mission. I don't know who you are. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, he's a little stubborn. Like, you don't really know what you're talking about.
I genuinely think that that is how it usually goes, where the person in charge is stubbornly telling you what to do, even though they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that way. I feel that way all the time.
Teal'c finds more evidence of the Unas being around, and they're still being watched through the woods. Then, then in a scene that was really graphic for Stargate, not compared to other things we've watched, but really graphic for Stargate.
Yeah.
Lauren finds Ritter's body like strung up on a post like a scarecrow, and then he just like turns around and vomits because it's horrific. And
Yeah. It made me think of, so I just started watching Urban Legends, the TV show on HBO Max, and
okay.
the whole first episode, no, no. Oh my gosh, no. I was watching it at the same time I was watching the Four Horsemen
Mm,
movie from like 97. I don't know,
okay.
somewhere up there. And this is the entire plot of the movie is everyone's getting like strung up on these things. And I was like, what am I watching? Did we switch over to our horror show? Like, this is it again, it really wasn't that graphic, but it
Yeah.
was really graphic for Stargate.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of like graphic horror, you
Right.
saw like dried blood on a uniform and you didn't see Lauren puking.
Yeah.
So
You
like
didn't feel icky.
so like there was nothing actually graphic about it except for that like that is wildly dark for Stargate.
Yeah.
Which is saying something because people die on the show every week.
Sure, sure. But you don't, I don't know. It's not the same.
It's
It's
not
not
the
the
same.
same.
Yeah. Then Colonel Yondu wants to go after the Unas and keep mining, and Daniel's like, this is a very big mistake. And Jack basically goes, I agree with you, but you know, chain of command, which
Yeah.
is part of me knows that Jack is just like he's gonna figure out the hard way that this was the wrong answer.
Right.
But
But
part of me is also like Jack.
yeah. Like you obviously he doesn't know anything about the Unas. You
Right.
guys know about the Unas. So
And it's not like Colonel Edwards is a different rank than Jack. They're both colonels.
right, right. So like just let him know. Educate
Which
him.
which is one of the reasons why I think I kept writing general because I was like, well, he's higher than Jack. And then I was like, no, but like
Yeah.
he's actually
He's not.
not.
Yeah.
Um a battle begins between the airmen and the Unas. Like they just start like shooting at each other. Um and at one point Jack gets knocked over and he's about to get attacked when Daniel yells to the Unas to not kill anyone. Um which I was watching it and I was like, wait, I don't remember what Kakeka means. And my Dan was like, you know what that means? And I was like, yeah, but I can't remember it. And then he was like, okay. And I was like, hold on, let me pull up. I was like, hold on, let me pull up my Unas glossary. And he was like, what? And I go, yeah, I have the Unas dictionary right here.
I will tell you, I know we've heard this language now 3 times, but this episode, I feel like I learned so much more.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm so much better than I was
um,
before.
yeah, but I did keep the Unas glossary up next to me just in case they said things and then
Nice.
didn't clarify them as fast
Explain
as
it.
I wanted
Yeah.
them to. But so basically, like this time, this scene later when they're doing the negotiations, they kind of like translate a little bit more. But this scene,
Right.
Daniel just yells something, and then the Unas yells something, and then it's over, and they don't tell you. Kokeka means like do no harm, like don't hurt
Yeah.
them. And he says Bena, which means like retreat, like go, like we're done. And so he pulls all the guys out. Um, and Colonel Edwards decides he still doesn't care and he wants to fight. And Jack's like, okay, no, this is not how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Um, so they go back to the SGC to figure out what to do. Where we find out that the injury to Jack's arm is way worse than we thought. Exit Richard Dean Anderson for the rest of the episode.
Because we need a reason for Richard Dean Anderson to leave. Yeah.
But also weirdly, this is the only scene that Sam's in for the whole episode.
Yeah. Maybe she
Um,
was sick this week. I don't know,
I don't
but it
know,
was strange she
but
wasn't
it
in
was
it.
real. It's also like really funny because he was like, "Oh yeah, how's your science project doing?" And she goes, "You mean reprogramming the entire gate dialing system?" He goes, "Yeah, you know, Jack."
Yeah. In Jack. It's a little more than that.
Yeah. So Daniel doesn't like that. Um, but Jack's not gonna be able to go back, and Daniel does not like that because he doesn't really want to work with Colonel Edwards. Um,
Fair.
and he's like, Colonel Edwards doesn't understand the UNAS, and Jack goes, "Or you."
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
So then a character that I don't remember hating as much as I hated him in this episode shows up. Because General Vidine comes from the Pentagon, which Dan has not yet met. Like must have missed all the Vidane episodes so far because he got really upset that a four-star general was there because he was like, there's someone higher than Hammond in the SGC. I go, no, Vidane works for the Pentagon.
He's in the
No,
Pentagon.
he's allowed to be a
Yeah.
four-star general. He works at the Pentagon.
That's so
But
funny. I also don't remember disliking him as much.
yeah, I was like, I literally go, wow, you became an asshole since the last time we saw you.
Got a little bit too big for his britches.
Right. I mean,
He's
granted,
rolling in that Nakoda high.
um, but he comes from the Pentagon and basically is like, Edwards, your mission's back on. Like, we have to get this. He then explains the whole situation of needing the air defense for the planet. And Daniel's like, I have an idea. And he's like, you weren't even invited to this meeting. And Daniel's
And
like,
Daniel's like, yeah.
yeah, no, correct. But like, also, I'm not military, so I don't have to listen to you anyway. Listen.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The number of times that if Daniel was actually military, he would have been court-martialed the fuck out
Oh
of
my
the
gosh.
SGC.
Or killed? Like, my God, somebody would have taken him out by now. Some friendly fire would have hit him, like the
Oh my
restraint.
God.
No doubt. I do not condone it, but I do think it would have happened.
Yeah.
Because he is a little bit annoying if you have to deal with him in that capacity. Watching him, he's fine. But if you have to deal with him in that capacity, for sure, a little bit annoying.
So Daniel's like, my idea is that we can just call Chaka and he can be our liaison and negotiate with
Yeah.
us.
Bestie Chaka.
Which, he's like, yeah, we've been talking for a while. And I'm like, have you? You guys just like call
Just
each
call him up
other,
on the phone.
right? Like you just like have interplanetary like FaceTime.
They do. They have that though. I don't know that Chaka has one, but they have them
Right. They have one through the
the
Malp.
yeah, but no, they had that little hand one that they had with Thor. Didn't they have one with Thor too? Like ages ago. No, who was
wait,
it?
the Goa'uld like
That's the
ball?
one. That's the one I was
Yeah,
thinking
because
of.
Chaka's gonna use Goa'uld technology.
I know. Maybe they've created their own similar technology.
Yeah, they can't pronounce their H's.
Look. It's fine. It's fine.
Um, and they agree. The catch being that if it doesn't work, they're gonna relocate the Onas and mine anyway. Like end of the day, they don't
Right.
care. Which honestly feels like a lot of America's foreign policy. Like we're gonna go in to be diplomatic, but if it doesn't work, oops.
Yeah. We're just gonna take it. It's fine. Yeah. Yeah, that
Well,
tracks.
I'm like really bashing America this episode. I didn't mean to do that.
Look,
I'm in a
look.
mood.
It's been a big week.
Um, so Chaka comes to the SGC, which he's very perturbed by. But he tells them that he wants to help. He basically is like the humans help Chaka, so Chaka will help the humans.
Mhm.
Um, and then they
The
bring Chaka.
Umans.
What?
The
Uman.
Umans.
Yeah, the Uman. Chaka. Which, okay. This then derailed again because Dan and I then paused the TV and spent far too long trying to say that without moving our lips. Because if you
Mm.
watch the way Chaka talks with the way the prosthetic of the mask is, his lips don't move.
The Umans. The Umans.
Chaka,
Chaka.
uh,
Chaka.
Chaka. Uh,
Chaka.
but then the P and the M, you physically can't do it. And I'm like, yeah, well, if you
Chaka. Umans.
Chaka,
Umans.
uh, yeah, I can't do it. It's aggressive.
No.
It's aggressive, and
Yeah.
Dan does it better than I do, which is not surprising because he's fucking weird. Um, but so they bring Chaka to the mining planet. The camp is destroyed, which of course just puts another column of check in the Edwards is gonna give no fucks column.
Mhm.
And Edwards and his men start to like rebuild and reset up camp while Chaka helps Daniel find the other Unas. As they're traveling through and seeing all the shrines, the weird scarecrow shrines, Chaka says that the human weapons are too big and are going to cause alarm and like make them think that they want to hurt them. So he wants Daniel to go with him unarmed. And Daniel agrees and hands over all his weapons to Teal'c, which Teal'c is not thrilled about, but it's Daniel. You can't really tell him what to do.
Right.
So they get to this fire, and Daniel helps Chaco light a fire to do his meditation and wait for the other Unas. And Daniel, despite being an ancient one, apparently meditation not his fucking jam.
Not his thing. Yep. Mhm.
I have never seen an enlightened person that incapable of meditating.
I know.
It was
I was
wild.
gonna say I'm not very good at meditation, but I'm not an enlightened one.
Yeah.
All's well. All's well.
I was trying to convince someone to meditate the other day, and they were like, but how do you stop thinking? So that's literally the whole point.
Was it me? Because I cannot stop my brain. It's like that is my biggest problem. I have to try to like recirculate it into
Oh, it
tell it
was
not to think, and then it runs off.
it was someone
Anyways,
it was someone talking to me about how they can't fall asleep.
it was me. This was
Was
us. We had this
you had this
conversation.
conversation?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I was like, I swear I literally just was like, no, but like
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah. It was
Okay.
me.
Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. I don't know.
I think it was all the podcasts.
Great. So now you guys
So,
are hearing this conversation again.
and you can tell how a week apart we don't remember anything. So it's fine.
Literally, literally. Um, but Daniel's like, so how long is this gonna take? And he's like, as long as it takes. Which honestly, I'm obsessed with it. The actual words he said were now,
No,
later.
later.
And
Yeah.
Daniel's like, it'll take however long it takes. And I just honestly sometimes wish that we were as succinct as that.
I'm gonna start doing that when people ask me how long things are gonna take. I'm just gonna say
No,
now,
no.
later. No explanation.
So the night
If
finally
Daniel
falls.
can figure it out in a different language, you can
Yeah,
figure it out in my language.
yeah. Night
So
finally falls, and the other Unas arrive. And Shaka and the other leader trade objects in order to officially start the negotiations, and they start their introduction. And Daniel tells them that they don't want to hurt them. And we learned that the leader of the Shaka or of the Unas from this planet is named Korasak. And so Korasak agrees to the negotiation. And then that's really all we see of that scene. The rest of the information we get from Daniel afterward, which is great because there can only be so many awkward scenes of Daniel trying to communicate with the Unas that we can watch in one episode.
I like him though. I don't know what it
Oh,
is about those scenes.
no, I love it. I love it. I mean, that's literally my job.
That's true.
That
That's true.
what you're watching is me at work every
I
day.
like it. I don't want to do it, but I like watching it. I'll come and observe. I'll
Come
come observe you
observe
one
me in the
day.
classroom.
Yeah.
I actually had someone ask me, "Oh, so how do you communicate with her?" like one of my students, I was like, her English makes like she's really nervous with her English. And they're like, so how do you communicate with her? I literally was like, I talk to her. The
Yeah,
fuck?
I understand.
I hate everyone.
I know, I know.
The mine turns out to be a sacred burial ground. And so Daniel's like, cool, we're gonna protect it the same way we protect sacred burial grounds on Earth. Like, we got this. And they're
Right.
like, yeah, no, no, no. But here's what happened. There are 53,000 metric tons of naquita in that mine.
Which is quite a bit.
It is quite a bit. However, I then, because I can't do anything without then stopping to Google
Mhm.
85,000 things, I then spent an inordinately long amount of time trying to determine how much raw naquita actually does power a single generator, to determine how many ships 53,000 metric tons would power. I don't have an answer. Nothing on the internet was helpful in
Oh,
any
we
way,
didn't
shape, or
get
form.
there. Cool.
No, 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 no.
Mhm.
I determined that a naquita generator does produce 2 kilotons of power. However, nowhere in that discussion was the amount of raw naquita required to start the generator.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I don't understand why all the other nerds on the internet don't have the same questions I have.
And they've had years to figure it out. They've had
Yeah,
what, 22 years? This came out in 2003.
yeah.
They've had 22 years to figure it out. Come on,
What
it's
is
not like they haven't torn every other centimeter of this show apart. Like,
right? So, Vidane tells Daniel that he's gonna have to figure out how to convince the Unas to be cool with leaving because they're going to relocate them. And Daniel's like, yeah, see that? I don't think that's gonna work very well. They're like, well, figure it out, which, is great. Korosek agrees to friendship with Daniel, or with the humans, and then Daniel offers food in exchange, because you know how they love those protein bars.
they sure
Um,
do. And to tell you, I mean, that's the way to negotiate with me as well.
right,
Like,
right.
if you, not a protein bar though, like, but like a chocolate bar or like some nuggets. I don't know, like
Yeah,
bring over a good snack and I'm in the right place to negotiate with you after that.
yeah. Um, he says, I'll give you food, we'll give you food, we'll take care of you in exchange for these rocks from the mine and to make the weapons to kill the Goa'uld. Like, um, you hate the Goa'uld, we hate the Goa'uld, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like,
Right. Go team.
yeah. Um, but then the airmen start to encroach in the woods because, Daniel's taking more than 5 minutes to have a
Mhm.
conversation.
Mhm.
So Daniel tells Corsac that they need to work together and the humans will relocate them, or the humans will relocate them. And Corsac is like, no, you won't. Like, we're not leaving. You want to fight? We'll fight. And Daniel's like, yeah, but you're not going to win. He goes, it's okay. The others will help me. And Daniel's like, others? Okay, how many? And he says, Sorseca, which means 22.
Gazillions. No.
No, but 22. And Dan goes, 22? That's not a lot. I go, 22 separate tribes.
Some
Not
tribes.
not
Yeah.
not not 22
Not individuals.
individual unas, 22 separate medium-sized clans.
Yeah. Yeah. That is quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we cannot take them.
No.
So
We did not bring enough firepower for that.
we don't have enough firepower for that, I don't think.
Probably not that could go through the gate, but like I guess America
Right.
still has nukes.
I mean, sure, collectively, but like you can't have every person on this planet like that could potentially
No, but like we could
help.
drop. I don't know the physics of dropping an A bomb via the
Mm.
Stargate.
That feels really dangerous.
It feels really dangerous.
Like they're already really finicky just
Right.
existing. You try to put them through a gate to another planet that we don't know how it's going to work with their atmosphere. Not that they're not all the same atmosphere
Also,
of Earth,
like the way
but like,
the way the wormhole destabilizes and
yeah,
restabilizes you
not a chance
somehow.
we have it left on the
I
other
don't think
side.
the
Not a
atomic bomb
chance.
survives that.
No, I don't think anyone survives that. It's like a black hole effect. It blows up both ends. That's my take. Like,
Yeah.
ugh,
So Daniel tries to contact Teal'c to tell him we have a slight
well,
problem. But so he's running through the woods, and at the same time, an Unas comes into the clearing for his lost necklace because that fell during the fight, which we did see it fall during the fight
yeah.
earlier. And one of the guys just shoots him.
I was. Can I tell you how livid I was? I don't know if I was just
Not
having an
as
emotional
not
day.
as livid as my husband, I can guarantee you.
I like almost started crying. I have like it was a bad morning. But
Yeah.
I was like, we are not doing this. Are
No.
you gonna just kill someone because they want their prized and like sacred necklace back? Are you kidding me? Like I yelled. Thank goodness
Yeah.
Sadie's used to my yelling because she did not react.
Yeah.
But
Daniel's very upset. But of course Edwards is like, who cares?
I can't. I can't.
You know the moment in Pocahontas where
Hmm.
where Captain Governor Radcliffe is just like singing about how Native Americans don't have feelings.
Right.
That is what I feel like that is what I feel like was happening in this episode.
Yeah. Did I tell you that he almost bowled us over in Disney one day? We were walking down the way and Governor Radcliffe almost like took us out. He was excellently himself.
Yeah, I believe it.
But
Um, but so the Unas are now preparing to attack, and Edwards is like, "It's fine, we got this." And Daniel's like, "But like you don't."
right. I don't
Um,
think you understand
Daniel tries to
how this works.
explain how outnumbered they are, and Edwards doesn't really believe them. Until Coruscant brings out all of his people to surround them on the ridge at the top of where their camp is, just to remind them how things are going for
Yeah.
him. And
Lin Manuel Miranda.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
But so then he comes down to talk to them alone, and he's like, "Surrender." And Colonel Edwards is like, "We could never." And it's like,
Great. We all die then. That's your option.
right. Daniel gets really mad. Um, he's like, "No, we have to." And Korosek tells Daniel that he believes that they tricked him and used the negotiation as a way to distract his people and kill them. So now
Which is
Daniel's
also what I would think.
right. So Daniel's like, now not only does he not want to negotiate, he also thinks that I lied. And like, God forbid Daniel ever be the bad guy.
Right. Which
Well,
is
and
also true, but also like
at
it
least
is worse.
like at least in this situation, Daniel actually really wasn't trying to do that, and he's on the same side as Korosek. But like also sometimes I feel like Daniel gets his panties in a bunch anytime anybody thinks his like motives are not
Yeah.
1,000% pure.
That is also very true. But also like it is worse to be betrayed than to just not have come to a decision or
Correct.
not to come to an
Oh,
agreement. So
100%. Um, so Daniel tells Edward to stop being a little bitch and
Mhm.
like show Coruscant that
Verbatim.
they're like not a threat.
Mhm.
So they all do. They all bow down on the ground, and Coruscant accepts. And so then Daniel gives him his lighter, and Coruscant gives him his necklace, and they decide to re-begin negotiation. And once all the negotiations are settled, Colonel Edwards is like, okay, but like now what? And he's like, well, and then Unas don't want you to touch their sacred burial ground. But they do want you to defeat the Goa'uld. So like the compromise will be that they will mine for you and they will give you the Naquadah because they don't want you down there and they don't want you to blow it up, but they also understand where you're coming from and want to help.
Right.
So like,
They're a reasonable species.
right.
Like as
Imagine
long as you
that.
don't kill them,
Yeah.
they're happy to help. If you're not the Goa'uld and you don't kill them, which those are the same sometimes,
Sometimes.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
they're really chill. Maybe toss them a protein bar. Their soup's chill and have a fire. Always have a fire.
Always have a
That is
fire.
what I've learned about the Unas. They always want to sit by a campfire.
Yeah. And also, like, if a campfire and a protein bar is all it took to solve world peace, I would
Oh,
have a Nobel Prize.
oh, amazing. Yeah. I would not do well if that was it. I could do it for other people, but it is not what I want. But I would
Oh, like you're saying, like you could not receive a campfire and a protein bar to say to be at peace.
correct.
Oh,
Correct.
no, 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 me either.
Correct.
I would
Yeah.
at least need something like a little heartier than a protein bar.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends went camping last weekend and she told us the weekend before she was gonna go camping. Um, and we just kept being like, we can't do that. And she's from the Midwest, so she's obsessed with camping. But I was like, I did it. I did my time. I camped my whole childhood from the time until I was a teenager. I did my time. I'm done now. You could put me in a glamping situation, probably. Probably. I don't know if I'd even like that, but for sure not regular camping.
No, I need a power outlet and toilet paper at minimum.
Yeah, I mean, you got toilet paper like a regular camping situation. Um,
Yeah.
it's
But like
that's doable, but like I
but no, but
just
like not just toilet paper, like I also need water. Like I can't just like
yeah,
shit in the woods and like wipe
mhm,
myself with toilet paper and bury it. Like
right.
I need running water.
Right. No, I'm with you on that. I also would need that. But just I'm also a lot like more scared of life than I was as a child, I guess. So like I don't need to be in the middle of the woods in my this day and age. Um, yeah, I need to have electricity and lights and civilization. I moved to the middle of nowhere. I understand, but there are people
Yeah.
here, and I did introduce myself to every one of them the day I moved in. So
I
I was
was
like, we're
afraid.
all gonna know each other.
My we had an ice storm today, and I was very afraid that I was going to introduce myself to my neighbor by hitting
Hmm.
him with my car when I tried to pull
Oh,
up
I'm
my
really glad you
driveway.
didn't.
Me too.
Yeah. Jill told me she had a snow day today. I was really jealous because it was 70 degrees
She
here.
did have a snow day today, and I was also really jealous, because I drove in ice to get to work.
Yeah, that's not safe.
Yeah.
We might have a fog day tomorrow
Oh,
because they're
that's
doing controlled fires below New Orleans.
mm, that's
So,
like this is a great week for that.
isn't it? Isn't it? So is every road that they're working on this week in the middle of the week of all of the events. They have had so much time to fix Jefferson Highway. So much time. Years, decades probably. I just haven't been here for decades. But this is the week they've chosen to make it instead of 3 lane, 1 lane.
Cool, 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 cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's been a good time.
so do you have any thoughts before I get into the trivia for this episode?
Um, I just love the Unas. Like at first, the first time I saw them, I was like, they're just another species. It's fine. They're just like another group. It's whatever. But like the more we see, I really love them.
Yeah.
And like I feel like Shaka is Daniel's Thor. Like they're
Yeah.
besties, they always get along and they have tradesies and Shaka just kind of tells Daniel like it is.
Yeah.
And I like it. And I also feel like it's one of the only like true success stories Daniel has of like communicating with people. Because
Right.
one, a lot of times like we may figure it out by the end and then we never see them again.
Yeah.
But like usually there's a lot more like back and forth, which we did in the first episode with Shaka, but like I don't know. I
Yeah.
like their friendship and I like the Unas as a species and
Yeah.
I feel like they're really good like what's the word? Bestie I have. What's the word?
I don't
Not enemy.
friend.
No, but like the when you like are in an alliance, they're a great alliance member
Oh,
to have.
okay. Got it.
An ally, yeah. I
Um,
just I couldn't get there.
so this is actually the first time that Dion Johnstone isn't playing Chaka. Um,
Oh.
he was in rehearsals for a play in the Stratford Festival, and so he was nowhere near Vancouver, and so he really couldn't do it. But he was really excited to see how somebody else took on that
Mhm.
character. And it was also interesting because part of the way that they spoke this episode was because they had redesigned prosthetics for the around their mouths. So it was a new design from before.
I
Um,
was gonna say, like, I could tell there was a slight new design, but they're one of the like one species that don't look crazy different every time we've seen them, even though like
yeah,
it's clearly evolved because it's been a few years now.
right,
But like, I
yeah,
mean, the Goa'uld from like day one to day now look crazy different, like for the
Hmm.
best. And then like even the replicators look different from first to like
Yeah, the
last.
replicators, though, they do kind of explain that it's
They do.
improvement.
Yeah.
Uh,
But like I feel like that's every kind of species other than like, Thor, because it just looks the same every time.
yeah,
But like I feel like the Unis, like you could tell that they had slight deviations, but they still looked
yeah.
pretty similar to the original concept.
And then relating to our trivia from last week, this also was an episode that was not originally supposed to be this season, but they Peter DeLuise was like, I don't think we can tell this without Danielle. Which, fun fact, this one you couldn't tell without
Right.
Danielle. Last
Correct.
week's
Yes.
episode could have been fucking
Not the
anybody.
same. Not the
This
same.
episode, you could not tell without Danielle because
Right.
no one else does
No
that.
one, yeah, no one else knows
And
Shaka
I was
like
like,
Danielle
and I
knows
was like, and
Shaka.
that is this is when I believe you. That like
Mhm.
and it just makes me so mad that like to try to have the same excuse for both of those episodes.
When they're
When
really different.
yeah. Um And my last piece of trivia is completely random and very strange, and it is just that for some reason that no one has been able to figure out because the production codes aren't wrong. This episode and the next one, the one we'll watch next week, have been shown flip-flopped in Sweden for years, and no one knows why.
Is Sweden also the one that didn't get anything for 5 years?
Maybe, actually, I think you're
Because
right.
they might just be like, you know what? Throw it into the
Dude.
wind. We're doing
Yeah.
whatever we
But
want.
like they're still production coded in order as 7 7 and 7 8, but then they play
Yeah.
them backwards.
I don't know. Well, we'll watch next week's and I'll tell you why.
Oh, okay, that'll be
I'll
great.
give you a reason.
That'll be great.
You will have to
Ne
remind me.
yeah, sure. Next
Mhm.
week's episode is entitled, let me pull it up because I forgot to do that. What? 7 is called Space Race.
Okay.
Um, and it is
Like you
very
did a rod, but for space.
honestly, yeah.
Amazing. Love it.
It is much more about an actual race than it is about the space race. Just yeah.
I love
It
it.
is legitimately about like an actual race in space. Um,
That's amazing.
yeah. Who do you want to punch?
Oh my gosh, Colonel Edwards. Bless his heart. I don't hate him, but I do want to punch him.
I He was my first pick, and then I was like, you know what, Courtney might pick him, so I'm gonna have to think of someone else.
For
So
sure.
I had to have a backup. And my backup is gonna be Colonel Vidane because like what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I was thinking also about the one that I don't know that we ever know
Or
his
the
name, but the guy
general.
that shot the Unis.
Oh yeah, he was a dick too.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, but General Vidane's like, oh well, at the end of the day, don't give a shit, blow him up.
right.
I was
True.
done.
Because like also like the guy that shot the Unis, like he did it out of fear, but like that's one of your part of your training as a military is you don't just shoot out of fear. You shoot for a reason, like to hold your ground and to like work things through. You
Oh,
clearly did not learn your training well.
bitch.
So yeah,
Who's your
100%.
MVP?
I mean, I would go with Shaka. Probably should
Okay.
pick Daniel, but I just love
Okay.
Shaka.
I know. I'll go with
And
Daniel because you
he did
didn't.
so good. He did so
He
good though, but he
did.
was like the mediator in
He
between and
was.
he
He
like didn't like betray the humans even though the Unas were like being slightly
that's
attacked. He like stood still to make sure the negotiations could happen.
and when everybody split into factions, he stayed with Daniel. He did not
Hmm.
go with Korosek, and that is
Right.
beautiful.
It
Um
is beautiful.
But yeah, Daniel, for everything that he did for like trying to understand and for the translating and the negotiating and everything, but honestly, mostly for that moment where he told Colonel Andrews he's being a little bitch, needed to get his shit
Yeah.
together.
Hmm. Hmm. Correct.
Yeah.
Excellent choice. Excellent
So
choice.
next week we will run a 5K in space.
Can't wait. I
Um,
will. Nope. I was gonna say I'll put my tennis shoes on, but not in space. I don't know, my helmet, space helmet.
I won't run ever for any reason.
But like there's like no gravity, so like you don't have to like actually run. You just kind of
But
like
doesn't that kind
float.
of make it worse?
I don't know. You have to
Think
do
think
anything. Can't you
think
just like It's like a
Yeah,
turtle
but
race.
like
You just kind
think
of hope
about
for the best.
yeah, but like think about using a pool for resistance training because the less resistance actually makes you work more. That's what
Oh yeah,
space
no, I'm
would
not
be.
going against the resistance. I'm gonna just go where it takes me and hope that it's in the right direction. Like I'm not fighting space. That's not my plan. I'm just
Well,
gonna do my best.
if you have advice on how to run in space, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or follow us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can follow me everywhere at ENKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And we will see you on Thursday for an episode.
An episode.
All
That is
right.
correct.
Bye.